आइए. Please sit down.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Sir.
बैठिए.
Thank you, ma'am.
So how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. Thank you.
You're fine.
Yes,
Where are you coming from?
ma'am, I belong to Ujjain.
Ujjain.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. So you couldn't have come today.
Ma'am, I am presently living in Delhi only for the past 1 month.
12 months.
Past 1 month.
1 month. Sorry, I heard wrong. Okay, now tell me, what is this 5G base? You've heard about 5G?
Yes, ma'am.
What spectrum is this 5G?
Ma'am, fifth generation is the new new bandwidth, which is being used for the the usage of internet. It has less latency as compared to what we have earlier been using, and it has more capability to accommodate many devices.
Oh, so that's why they are saying we should have 5G base, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now tell me about semiconductors. Have you heard?
Yes, ma'am.
What are they?
Ma'am, semiconductor is a element which has properties of both metal as well as non-metal.
Okay.
It has valency of 4 and it is used for variety of purposes, especially in the field of electronics and communication engineering.
So how did you like your engineering? Did you do engineering?
Yes, ma'am.
It was very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you work?
No, ma'am. Right after graduation, I decided to prepare for civil services examination.
Okay. Have you done well in your written?
Pardon?
Written exam, main exam.
Ma'am, I hope so.
You hope so. Now,
yes,
what do you feel?
Ma'am, I think I have done,
done
up
well.
to the mark as per my efforts.
Okay. So tell me, what is May Day? M-A-Y, May, and Day. May, tomorrow is May Day. Have you heard about May
Sorry,
Day?
ma'am, I am not aware.
Okay, so tell me about the ET, you know Economic Times? ET,
Yes,
Economic Times. They have given an award, Business Woman of the Year. They give award देते हैं for the best business person. आपने सुना?
Sorry, ma'am, I am not
नहीं
aware.
सुना, कोई बात नहीं. Sir, please.
Mr. Aishwarya.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And having done electrical engineering, you have opted for geography as your optional
Yes,
paper.
sir.
Okay. Electrical engineering is available as optional paper.
Yes, sir.
What were all the information available to you that you didn't choose electrical engineering as an optional?
So electrical engineering is a good subject and I could have opted for the same. The option to take geography was purely strategic due to its considerable overlap with the GS paper.
No, I'm not asking about geography.
Yes, sir.
Why you chose geography? Why you did not choose electrical engineering?
So it's not that I didn't like electrical engineering or I could not have prepared, but when I started studying for civil services, the prospect of geography was comparatively better than electrical engineering. That's why I opted for the same.
Okay. Relatively you found geography better than electrical engineering.
For preparation purposes, yes.
Of course, obviously we are looking at civil services exam only.
Yes, sir.
Not okay. As of now, we are transferring electrical energy from one location to another by high voltage AC.
Yes, sir.
Is it not? We are raising the voltage to some kilovolts.
Yes, sir.
And then transferring from one location to another.
Yes, sir.
And there are problems with that. There are losses there.
Yes, sir.
My suggestion to you is that can we do this way, that let us transfer the electrical energy instead of AC, firstly DC, secondly instead of high voltage, we transfer on low voltage.
Yes, sir.
Low voltage DC transmission from one location to another, so that will electrical losses will be, I feel it will be less.
Yes, sir.
What are just examine this thing as a offer and then tell me. You take your time.
Yes, sir.
And tell me pros and cons.
Yes, sir. It is indeed true that transmission of AC at high voltage does have some losses. For example, corona losses, for instance, and this problem can be rectified through DC. But the high voltage DC has itself the problem of generation of DC at high voltages. The production of the stepping up of voltage in AC is comparatively easier.
You listen to the question?
Yes, sir.
I told that let us transfer the energy through low voltage DC from point one to another. Use low voltage DC. I mean practically 400 volt or something, whatever is the generating voltage.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir, I am not aware about low voltage DC
No,
transmission.
it's not a question of being aware. Examining in your mind and check up what are the pros and cons. Had it been in the book, I would not have given it to you.
Yes,
You are much more qualified. Just examine it, think about it, and let me know. What are the negative points of DC transmission at low voltage?
Sorry, sir, I am not able to recall it.
Okay. People, only 2-3 days back,
Yes, sir.
there was a discussion about Armed Forces Special Powers Act not being palatable to people in Northeast, and it was said that they will try to reduce the area to which this act is applicable.
Yes, sir.
I want to know from you that which are the particular provisions of Armed Forces Act which people are not liking.
Sir, first provision is blatant immunity to search the households without any warrant.
Say again, what
Sir,
is that?
absolute provision to search the household of the people without any warrant. This has led to many allegedly human rights violation.
Okay.
So people are having apprehensions regarding this provision. Yes, sir.
As of now, how many states are in how many states it is being enforced?
Sir, it is enforced in Nagaland. It is enforced in some parts of Arunachal Pradesh. It is enforced in.
I mean, I wanted to know the just number 1, 2, 3, 4. How many states?
Sir, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Aishwarya, it is so interesting to interact with you. We are now undergoing a heat wave.
Yes, sir.
Atmospheric temperature is touching almost 50 degrees, and predictions are that it might go up to 53 degrees also in the next few days.
Sir.
So tell me the causes of this sudden increase, because it says it is all-time high,
Yes, sir.
the like of which has not been seen. The increase in the temperature now, what are the causes and the consequences also?
Yes, sir. So first and the foremost cause is climate change. Like recent reports of ICC has also pointed out that the present temperature is now 1.09 degree centigrade higher than the pre-industrial level. So the first and the foremost reason is this. Second is, sir, urban heat island effect also. In case of urban areas, there is a phenomena called urban heat island, which raises the temperature of the urban areas from about 4 to 6 degrees centigrade from the surrounding areas. This is one of the due to.
But has this aspect of urban heating changed in the last 3 years? I think that the urban contribution to global warming continues to be the same, or it has changed in the last 3 years.
Sir, it is gradually increasing day by day because the area under the concrete is increasing, which has indeed led to less albedo, less reflection of heat. This has led to increase in the temperature in the urban areas due to more absorption of heat and such incidences of heat waves, especially in the urban areas. Sir, as far as consequences are concerned, first is direct effect to the health, not only to the humans but also to the animals as well as the biodiversity around us. And sir, other impact is there is, as far as an electrical engineer, what I have been witnessing, that there is a sudden surge in the demand due to considerable heat, especially in the months of March and April. For example, last Tuesday also the peak demand was about 200 gigawatts, which is one of the highest recorded in the history. This is one of the consequences as well.
These are very minor consequences. The major consequences, if we are discussing it so lucidly, what about the consequence of glacier melting,
Yes, sir.
sea level, and the consequent impact?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is indeed true that the glaciers are melting, and it was also highlighted by Hindu Kush Himalayan report that was released last year. And there has also been instances of.
You can sit back and relax. You are amongst friends. Don't be tense. Sit back like I'm sitting and relax and then talk.
Yes, sir. Indeed, there is sea level rise as well. And this phenomena is much rapid in the Indian Ocean as well. And one more consequence is the increase in the frequency of natural disasters such as cyclones. We have been witnessing an increase in the frequency as well as intensity of the tropical cyclones in the Arabian Sea as well, which was earlier not the phenomena. These are some of the consequences.
Mr. Aishwarya, I would like to understand, does the increase in temperature also have an impact on the incidence of crime? Any studies on that? Any impact of the heat wave on crime?
Sir, I am not aware about any particular studies, but if you allow me, I can make a logical guess here.
Go ahead.
Sir, many geographers, as I have taken geography, many geographers has pointed out this phenomena that increase in the heat is directly proportional to the criminal instinct of a person. Plus,
Are you sure of what you are saying? A guess has to be a guess that has to be on the basis of logic and studies, not a shot in the dark. If it is a shot in the dark, we will stop at that.
Yes, sir.
If it is on the basis of some studies, please go ahead, continue.
Sorry, sir, it is not based on some particular
Then,
studies.
okay. It is based on common sense in that.
I am guessing, sir.
So never mind. We'll go to something else of very interesting value. Ma'am had asked you about 5G.
Yes, sir.
There's the plus side which you mentioned, and there's a minus side also. Can you shed some light on the minus side of 5G technology?
Yes, sir. It will increase the expenditure in terms of the new devices that are.
Naturally, any technology comes at a cost.
Yes, sir.
But you mentioned the word biodiversity.
Yes, sir.
Are there any studies to show that the 5G technology also impacts the biodiversity in any manner? Human health in any manner?
Sorry, sir, I am not aware, but I am aware of one instance, if you allow me, that last year the BirdLife International has given out a report in which they had mentioned something about this, that introduction of 5G won't affect the biodiversity of bird life to a considerable extent.
Great observation. Do you think that every such study that promotes any technology can be trusted without any questions asked? Or do you think there are sponsored studies to promote or to dissect any technology? There is so much of money and finances involved. I would question any study that promotes any technology or questions any study. There are sponsored researches and there are sponsored studies. How would you react to this?
Yes, sir, indeed it is true that there are some vested interest of corporates and other bodies which has led to sponsored studies. I think, sir, if such studies are conducted by independent and recognized organizations which have much higher accountability to the public.
Can you name two such so-called established and reputed institutions or study centers, research institutes?
Sir,
which would you think are the topmost two in the world whom you would trust and rely?
Sir, I would say one is IPCC in terms of climate change reports.
Never mind. Perfect. Sir.
Well, Aishwarya, you mentioned about the IPCC report,
Yes.
latest IPCC report. It also had one recommendation that we should reduce the GHG emission by approximately 40% by 2030.
Yes, sir.
So, do you think that India is in a position to meet that stipulation, that recommendation?
Sir,
GHG
yes, sir.
emission has to be reduced by about 40% by 2030.
Yes, sir. Sir, India has made many commitments for achieving the target. For example, in the recent summit of COP26, India has highlighted many commitments to increase the renewable power energy generation by 500 gigawatt by 2030 and achieve the net carbon neutrality by 2070. In terms of whether it is on the target, I am not aware of any particular data which justifies the same. But India is aggressively promoting many initiatives like electric vehicles as well, and National Action Plan for Climate Change, which has 8 components to aggressively pursue this target.
Very good. Now, in Madhya Pradesh, we have the largest number of tribals.
Yes, sir.
Also, huge tracts of land are under forests.
Yes, sir.
So, how do you see this relationship, whether tribals are contributing to the eco-conservation? Because Project Tiger, there are 6 sites of Project Tiger there, and they have been doing very well in MP.
Yes, sir.
So, how do you see this relationship? How tribal population is helping, or do you see any conflict?
So there has been instances where it is established that tribal people are more close to the forest, and not only they utilize the resources but also help in conserving the forest as well, because they are not only their source of livelihood but also the part of their culture as well. So yes sir, I think that tribal has a much deeper connection with the forest, and you rightly pointed out that Madhya Pradesh does has the largest number. 21% of the population in Madhya Pradesh is tribal, and it has the largest forest cover as well. This can be one relation, sir.
So tell me how, as district magistrate, you would make sure that tribal forest relationship is further improved upon. It is made further, compatible and synergistic. What action will you take with regard to tribals?
So, sir, I would first ensure that any project that is being implemented is in provisions with the law, such as there are law that Forest Right Act 2006,
Right.
and the approval of the Gram Sabha is being taken while doing any project on the tribal land or related to forest. Second, for promotion, I can think that some of the cultural festivals that are related to tribals can be promoted. For example, now under Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat program, many states are connecting with each other to exchange their ideas related to cultural festivals. Then such tribal festivals which are in link to the forest can be promoted not only through government scheme channels but also through social media and other platforms as well.
Good. Now, Honorable Prime Minister is leaving for 3 days, 3 countries trip to Europe. Are you aware which countries would he be visiting? Day after tomorrow he is leaving.
Sorry sir, I am not aware.
Okay, no issue. Now my last question, you have mentioned in your hobbies you play chess.
Yes sir.
So do you see any similarity in the strategy of playing chess and running district administration?
Yes sir, indeed I see two possibilities.
Please tell me.
First is your one action can have multiple consequences, and it is your duty that you should study the various number of consequences and be prepared for the same. Like in game of chess, we play one move and anticipate the moves of other, and be prepared and prepare ourselves for our next move well in advance. So if such things are applied in the administration, then we can have a better foresight in case of further consequences. Second sir, in chess there is a phenomena called stalemate in the end, in which even if a player is winning, then he has to make sure that he does not end up in a stalemate which can end up in a draw. So in case of administration also, until and unless a target is not completely achieved, we should not lower our guard and should execute it properly.
Good, Aishwarya. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
So Aishwarya, you are from Ujjain.
Yes sir.
Now tell me, religious tourism circuit. If I ask you to prepare a religious tourism circuit between UP, where Bareilly you have stayed or somewhere.
Sir, I am presently living.
You are residing in Bareilly. Uttarakhand, where you have studied.
Yes sir.
And Madhya Pradesh.
Yes sir.
Can you identify 2 destinations each in which you can connect them on a religious tourism circuit?
Yes sir. Sir,
Have you understood my question?
Yes sir. Sir, if I start by Ujjain, I would first go to Mahakaleshwar and Omkareshwar, which are very close to each other, and they are the 2 Jyotirlings. Then I think we can move to Khajuraho, where Khajuraho group of temples is also there. From there we can go to Kashi Vishwanath in UP, and thereafter we can move to west, and in Uttarakhand we can go to Kedarnath and Badrinath, and in this way a circle can be completed, sir.
Circuit.
Yes sir.
It's not called a circuit.
Yes sir.
So Aishwarya, tell me, you are a electrical engineer.
Yes sir.
So I am making a statement. The present power crisis is an act of mismanagement and misadministration at the level of governments and the power companies.
Sir, I would say that this statement is partially true. Other being there has been some unprecedented crisis at international level, like Russia-Ukraine crisis, which has led to increase in the price of the imported coal by 35%, due to which coastal areas has now started to cut the imports. which has increased the demand in the domestic areas, and the transportation cost has also increased to transport it to the coastal areas. So I don't think that it is completely government's fault, but yes sir, there is a demand supply mismanagement to some extent which could have been managed better. But I think the present power crisis, it's a mix of both.
Now, the Foreign Secretary of India has made a statement that the dynamics of China and Russia are changing vis-a-vis India.
Yes sir.
Now, we are also having a BRICS summit very soon.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of it?
Yes sir.
Now, with the Russia and China getting together on many issues, how much India should be reliable on Russia for its defense needs in times to come?
So the friendship between India and Russia as far as defense technology and other is concerned has stood the test of time, and Russia has been a reliable partner till now, and India has also reciprocated the same. In the present dynamics also, India has not completely stood against Russia, rather it has condemned the war and the violence, but it has also protected its national interest. I think India should take decision based on its national interest on a merit basis in different scenario, and should balance its need and not completely dependent on a particular country for its need. And the most prominent solution for this is strengthening the indigenized defense sector.
Now, the RBI governor has said that India will take many more years to be, at the same economic level as it was in pre-COVID. Now, what do you think is the current economic scenario,
Yes,
based on macro indicators,
Yes sir.
as of now?
Yes sir.
Can you just very briefly tell?
Yes sir. Sir, after COVID, the growth has been slumped and India has entered into technical recession, but now it has started to recover. Like economic survey also pointed out that the further growth would be around 8 to 9%. However, issues are related to fiscal deficit and debt to
Aishwarya,
GDP.
I would like to know, when I said as of now,
Yes sir.
the latest position is not COVID, post-COVID. The
Yes, sir.
latest is the war. The Ukraine war has put the economy of India on the downslide again.
Yes sir.
So you are going back to the COVID times.
Yes, sir.
I am referring to the Ukraine war fallout, which
Yes,
is
sir.
more recent.
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Has it not upsetted the entire economic situation of the country?
Yes sir, it
I
has
want to know that.
It has affected.
What is
First
that?
of all, most hit is our energy sector, because we supply the natural gas from Russia, and we also have
I want
imports.
indicators, economic indicators. GDP, inflation.
Sir, I am not exactly aware about
You are not aware.
the numbers, data to justify
Tell
this.
me how much downslide, improving, something is improving also. Just tell the trend if you are aware.
Yes,
Otherwise,
sir,
there's no
food
point.
inflation is increasing, which has we have seen that there has been rise in many vegetable products such as
Okay, don't
lemon,
give examples.
capsicum.
Just mention one by one.
So there has been food inflation, there has been rise in the fuel prices recently. So inflation in general has increased. Sorry, sir.
No idea. What does it matter? Thank you, Aishwarya.